So, lessons from Jack Ma, part 2. It was wonderful listening to him. It was wonderful being part of the team that worked on the entire visit. And I have to thank UNCTAD for making me part of that. But I thought it's very important that maybe we look at what else Jack Ma tried to remind us with his visit. And Mukisa Kitui said it, but we have this thing. We don't listen when Caroline says it, when Mukisa says it, when Raila says it, when Uhuru says it. We just don't listen. And there's a problem with us, and I'm going to talk about us as Kenyans. We've been waiting for a politician for some reason to save us from our poverty and our material poverty, our spiritual poverty, our psychological poverty. And what Jack teaches you is that it takes an ordinary person to make the change. In fact, Mukisa said it, stop waiting for governments. You have no idea how many times I'm like, oh God, one more person. I sit in forums when someone, the government should, and what is the government doing? There's no government, there's you and me. In fact, if you actually spend time listening and reading anything Jack Ma says, he says he was doing fine until the government caught up with him and kind of realized what he was doing. Big lesson from Jack Ma is that you do not wait for government to do anything. You just get on with it. And I remember asking a friend of mine, what is it about us that consistently we need to be affirmed, we need to be, validated? And I was told it's a problem of Generation Y. Generation Z don't have that problem, and Generation X, my people, don't have that problem. I know why we're special. We were raised by wolves. I've said this before. We didn't have car seats, we didn't have helmets, we didn't have sunscreen, we didn't have seat belts, and we didn't have play dates. And we were raised by people who told us, get on with it. So what we've done is gotten on with it. And there's a whole section of Generation Y who look at us in amazement, like, hiya, you did it. Hiya, you said that. It's like, we're made of Kevlar and Teflon. We're like, who are you? Enda pale uko naenda. And then there's Generation Y, who just consistently need to be validated and affirmed. And I mean, if you're in the motivation business, you'll make a lot of money from those people. And then there's Generation Z, who are very much like, I don't know if it's going to work, but I'm going to do it anyway. And then maybe it's not going to work. Okay, I'll try again. I've learned. And I think the problem is Generation X, my people, we're not very used to having to ask you for your opinion before we do something. And Generation Y constantly saying, but why aren't you asking for my opinion? You haven't asked me whether your hair is nice. I don't care. I don't come from that. And then when you see Generation Z getting on with it, you're like, who do they think they are? You're the people who need to get your act together. Because remember, we as Generation X want to hand something over to you, but we can't because you're crazy. And then we also don't want you to be cut out because Generation Z is coming and you're going to act like, and then wakachukua kila kitu, you're like, no, you spend too much time wondering whether we're going to double tap on your goddamn Instagram pictures. Nobody cares. Get on with it. And if you take nothing from Jack Ma, take this. You will fail several times. The question is, will you take the lessons from your failure and build on something new? Will you actually learn from failure? Will you sit there and say, it's not fair, I didn't do well, the system is rigged? No, it isn't. The system requires you to pick yourself up really quickly every time you fall and get on with it. So can we agree that if you can learn nothing from my generation, learn that it's never that serious, and actually nobody cares. We only care when you get it right. So, and if you can learn anything from the kids, Generation Z, is that I'm going to do it anyway. Something's gonna work at some point. And what I think is wonderful about them is they're like, we're gonna do this. We don't know that it's gonna work, but we're gonna do this. And that's why most of them are millionaires and billionaires under the age of 30. Okay? All right, subscribe. Let's talk about the elections.